Hi, I'm Mira, and this is my Odyssey. I'm welcoming you to the third episode of this journey where I'll be speaking on lessons in silence. So, I've been trying to really record this for the longest now. Like, this is like the third time I'm actually recording this. And I just felt like, in as much as I thought I had experienced a lot of things, this is something that I am still trying to have a hold of, right? It's something that I admire, but I don't quite get it 100. So it was really difficult connecting to it, but it's something that I should speak about. So, what if the answers you have been searching for aren't in the noise around you, but in the silence within you? So, like, in our world today, we are constantly, like, a lot of things constantly demands our attentions, and silence can really feel unfamiliar. Like, sometimes, even when you are too quiet, people begin to ask you, what's up? What's the problem? Are you good? But sometimes it's actually necessary and it's actually important to just be in that state of introspection. Sometimes you ask me now, is it in this Lagos I'll be having some quiet time, or is this busy schedule of mine? Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that you go and sit in a corner and then begin to think about everything that has happened in your life. It's just like a brief moment of peace, right? You could be on your way back home. It could be like on your table. Just recount like what just happened to you right now. Well, the moments in my life where I actually search for answers everywhere except for myself. Like, I always want to know, oh, what's this thing what this thing that just happened now? Do you think I did this? Do you think I did that? And then sometimes it's the first time I actually did have this encounter was, I think I was seeing a movie or a show on a TV, and as someone who is always blowing hot air, as a child, I always I always blew hot air rather, sorry. So, as someone who has that kind of temper, I think the first time I had introspection, even no matter how much people, my mom, for example, will say, you are too hot, dear child, like, you need to calm down, but it never ever gets to me. Like, I'm like, please excuse me. Until the day I was seeing that show, and the compliments to the person in that show is how she always remained calm, even in state of dilemma, anger, everything. She always remained calm, and that stuck with me. And I'm like, you can actually also be this way, right? Because I'm always big on, when I meet people, I try to pick up one or two from them and then work on myself. So that was like, so people can actually be this calm. And that was the first time I sat down for a long time, or never in my life, to actually think and say, oh, analyze myself and say, oh, this is where I need to improve and this is where I need to work on. And with time, I just noticed that introspection, or sitting down and having a think of what just happened to you, or processing things in your life, has its own way of revealing truths that we may not notice in the midst of constant activities. Sometimes silence actually shows us what we truly want. Other times, it reveals what we have been avoiding. So definitely the answers are not always immediate, right? But reflection creates that space for honesty. It allows us to see situations more clearly and understand ourselves more deeply. When you are in this space you begin to understand that communication actually goes beyond speaking. Sometimes you quietly listen and observe. So this whole superpower, this whole ability actually sharpens your awareness. Like for me, since the time I started taking my time to analyze what has happened, you can never see me in a place, surely for the first time, being all around the place. I just want to know, understand what I'm working with, understand who I'm working with, and observe very well. Because in silence, you begin to notice hidden details, you begin to notice and understand people's true intentions and emotions. So most times, stepping back doesn't actually make you a fool. You must not always have the last word. I should have said this to him. I should have said this to her. Sometimes it teaches us humility and shows us that we actually do not always need to say the last word. You see, reflection actually allows us to examine our past experience and recognize the pattern and learn from our mistakes. I was always burning out, and when I do, it's like I'm about to consume the whole earth. But the moment I sat down and understood that, okay, this is where the problem is coming from. Probably you bottle up too many things, and by the time you are tired of bottling up, you are out there. It helped. I could see, okay, yeah, this is where the problem is coming from, and that's how I started confronting issues the moment it comes in. Well, embracing stillness, just stillness is not really like an inactive moment, right? It's that internal pause from constant stimulation. There are different ways you can do this. Maybe journaling, maybe walking around without distractions, probably just sitting quietly. Just take a little zone, like a little trip out of reality, right? Sometimes at the beginning, it could actually feel very uncomfortable. But with time, trust me, you get used to it. Well, if you are still tuned in, I have a few questions for you, or maybe just two. When was the last time you spent intentional time in silence without distractions? Now, if you have never done this, trust me, you need to do it, and this just once in a while. What lessons has silence taught you that conversations could not? I have a lot of lessons, but the major one should be working on my emotions, because if someone would have come to me and say, you're an angry bird, or you say you do a lot when you're angry, I probably would have defended myself, even if I know that. But sitting down and watching that show and hearing all of that taught me the first time to actually sit down and self-evaluate myself. I think the first time I came back from the university, so I have a sister, right? And there's this thing my sister does. She knows this thing is actually going to tick you off, right? But she just do them, maybe just to put you to a test or something. And trust me, I always fall for it. And this particular period, I came back from school. As usual, she did the same thing, and I just looked at her. No reaction. And then she goes, you're really grown, no? You have changed. At that point, I felt so good. So, this can also be you, right? You can also feel so good from just sitting and having a think about what happens today. Probably the way you reacted or something, the way you said something, and how to be better the next time when you face encounters like that. Sometimes it could be you're looking for an answer to something, and it's not just clear because everywhere is chaotic, right? You may just be sitting and then just thinking about it calmly, and then the answers just fly down, appear, right? So not all answers come from actions or conversations, but by embracing stillness, practicing patience, and observing the world around us, we allow the quietest moments to become our greatest teachers. Thank you so much for listening to me. Don't forget to like, share, comment. Until next time, miracles. Bye.